The first thing you need to know is that for 3 years, I walked naked through my own house. Not out of rebellion. Not out of some liberated, body-positive manifesto. I did it because my husband, Alexander Vale, tech billionaire, genius, the man who revolutionized voice-assisted living for the blind, could not see me. A rare retinal disease had stolen his sight on our wedding night. The doctors said it was permanent. He said it didn't matter. He said he saw me with his hands, his lips, the way he tilted his head when I laughed. And because I loved him more than vanity, more than modesty, more than the chill of Italian marble on bare feet, I shed every layer the moment the front door closed behind us. I cooked naked. I danced naked. I cried naked on the bathroom floor when the pregnancy test came back negative for the 7th time. I made love to him naked on every surface of that 30-room mansion, and he mapped me like a country he would never tire of exploring. He never asked me to do it. I just did. It felt like the only honest thing I could give him when the universe had taken his eyes. So when the security camera in the upstairs hallway caught me that morning, bare, humming, carrying laundry like it was the most normal thing in the world, I didn't think twice. The cameras had been there since we moved in. Alexander had insisted on them for safety. They were supposed to be voice-activated only, no video feed he could access. I believed him. I trusted him with every inch of my skin. I trusted him until the night I walked into his study and found him staring at a screen. Not listening. Staring. The glow lit up his face, those sharp cheekbones, the mouth I knew better than my own, and his eyes, once clouded milk-white, were clear. Ocean blue. Focused. Moving. He was watching the hallway feed. He was watching me. And he had been for weeks. If you're already gasping, hit that like button right now, because what happened next broke me open and put me back together in ways I never expected. Keep watching. You're going to need tissues. My name is Elena Vale, and this is the story everyone thinks is about betrayal, but it's actually about the moment love decided it was bigger than both of us. It started with a miracle nobody told me about. Alexander had been flying to Switzerland once a month for board meetings. That's what he called them. I never questioned it. The man ran a company worth more billions than I could count. I kissed him goodbye at the private hangar, handed him the leather weekender I'd packed myself, and spent the weekends painting in the sunroom, still naked, paint flecks on my thighs, music loud enough to rattle the glass. What I didn't know was that those trips were for an experimental stem cell therapy combined with an optic nerve implant. Cutting edge. Insanely risky. The kind of thing that had a 4% success rate and cost more than some countries' GDPs. He never told me because he didn't want me hoping. He didn't want me watching him fail again. He wanted to surprise me on our 4th anniversary with the words, "Look at me, Elena. Really look." But the therapy worked faster than anyone predicted. By the 3rd session, colors bled back into his world. By the 5th, he could make out shapes. By the 8th, he could read the spines of books on his shelf. And then he came home early one night, sat in the dark study, and opened the security system for the first time in 3 years. He told me later that the first thing he ever saw of me, truly saw, was me dancing in the kitchen to an old Sinatra song, flour on my breasts from making bread at 2 a.m., twirling like a girl who still believed in magic. He sat there frozen, crying, terrified to blink in case the vision vanished. He watched for weeks. Every morning. Every night. He told no one, not his doctors, not his best friend, not even the AI assistant he himself had coded. He just drank me in. The slope of my back when I reached for a wine glass. The way my hair stuck to my neck after a shower. The small scar on my left hip from when I fell off a bike at 12. The freckle just beneath my right breast that he used to kiss and call his North Star. He fell in love with me all over again, like a man seeing color for the first time. And I had no idea. Until that night. I walked into the study wearing one of his white dress shirts, nothing else, looking for the anniversary gift I'd hidden behind his books. The room was dim, only the desk lamp and the blue glow of the monitor. He looked up. Our eyes met. I knew instantly. You know how you just know? The way his gaze didn't slide past me like it had for years, soft, unfocused, loving but blind. This gaze pinned me. Traveled down the open shirt, over bare legs, back up to my face. Shock. Guilt. Awe. The shirt felt suddenly ridiculous. I yanked it closed. You can see, I whispered. He stood so fast the chair rolled back and crashed. Elena. How long? He swallowed. 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 42 days of me walking around our house like it was still safe to be naked in my own marriage. You watched me. My voice cracked. You let me. I couldn't stop, he said, and the words tore out of him raw. I tried. I swear to God, I tried to tell you 100 times. But every time I opened my mouth, I thought, what if it's temporary? What if tomorrow I wake up and it's gone again? I wanted one perfect month of seeing you exactly as you'd always been with me. Free. Unself-conscious. Mine. I backed away until my spine hit the bookshelf. Books rained down around us. Do you know what this feels like? I was shaking. I gave you everything. Every insecurity, every stretch mark, every ugly cry. I thought I was safe because you couldn't see. And you sat here in the dark and... I sat here and fell to my knees every single night, he said, voice breaking. Because the woman I married is more beautiful than anything my imagination ever gave me. And I was terrified you'd start covering up the second you knew. I laughed, but it sounded like sobbing. So you lied. I protected the version of us that worked, he said. I was selfish. I was cowardly. I was overwhelmed. Elena, I saw you cry over those negative tests and I couldn't cross the room fast enough to hold you. I saw you fall asleep on the couch waiting for me to come home and I carried you to bed and thanked God for every freckle. I saw you paint and bite your lip exactly the way I remembered from touch. I was greedy. I wanted it all before I risked losing it. I slid down the bookshelf until I sat on the floor, knees to chest, his shirt barely covering me. I feel violated. The word hung between us like a blade. He dropped to his knees in front of me, careful not to touch. Then I'll spend the rest of my life making it right. I'll delete every feed. I'll rip out every camera with my own hands. I'll wear a blindfold in our house if that's what you need. Just, don't stop being you. Not because of me. Silence stretched, thick and aching. I looked at him, really looked. The man who once traced my face in the dark and swore he saw galaxies. The man who built an empire with his mind when his eyes failed him. The man who'd funded half the research that gave him his sight back because he wanted to see his wife's smile one more time. And I started to cry, ugly, heaving sobs that shook my whole body. He didn't move closer. He waited. I'm scared, I finally whispered. I'm 34 years old and I've never let you see me in real light. What if now that you can, I'm not enough? He made a broken sound. Elena, you are the first thing I ever saw after 3 years of darkness, and I thought I'd died and gone wherever souls like mine are allowed. You are the reason I fought to see again. Not sunsets. Not art. You. Just you. I stared at him through tears. I hate that you lied. I know. I hate that I'm embarrassed now in my own skin. I know. But I love you, I said, and it sounded like surrender. God help me, I love you so much it's humiliating. He crawled forward then, slow, giving me every chance to push him away. When I didn't, he gathered me into his arms, shirt and all, and held me like he was drowning. We stayed like that until dawn crept through the windows and painted us gold. The weeks that followed were raw. I wore clothes. All the time. Thick robes, jeans, t-shirts up to my chin. I couldn't help it. Every time I thought about undressing, panic clawed up my throat. He never pushed. Never looked at me with anything but reverence and regret. He dismantled the entire security system himself, wired cameras, cloud storage, all of it. He scheduled couples therapy with the best trauma specialist money could buy, even though I laughed through tears and said only we could need therapy over something this absurd. And slowly, painfully, we rebuilt. One night in therapy, the doctor asked me what being naked in our house had really meant to me. I thought about it. Really thought. It wasn't about sex, I said. It was about radical acceptance. I spent my whole life trying to be smaller, suck in my stomach, angle my face, apologize for taking up space. With Alex blind, I finally got to be big. Unapologetic. Fully human. And I thought I was giving him a gift, but really, he gave me one. Alexander reached for my hand across the couch. I let him take it. So when he could see, I continued, voice trembling, it felt like the one place I was finally free got taken away. The therapist asked him what seeing me had meant to him. He didn't hesitate. It meant my imagination had shortchanged her. Every curve I memorized by touch was more exquisite in reality. Every laugh line, every dimple, every imperfect inch. Seeing her didn't make her more beautiful. It made me realize I'd been in love with a miracle I hadn't even fully grasped. We both cried then. The ugly kind that heals. The turning point came on a random Tuesday in October. I'd spent the day in the sunroom painting, fully clothed, music low. Alexander was in meetings. When he came home, he found me on my knees scrubbing dried paint off the floor in an old tank top and shorts. My hair was a mess. I had a streak of cerulean across my cheek. He stood in the doorway and just looked. Not with hunger. With wonder. I felt it like a touch. I froze. Slowly, I stood up. And then, God knows where the courage came from, I pulled the tank top over my head and let it drop. His breath caught. I stepped out of the shorts. I stood there in broad daylight, 34 years old, soft belly, silver stretch marks from too many almost babies, thighs that touched, breasts that weren't perky anymore, and I let him see all of it. The silence stretched so long I almost bolted. Then he crossed the room, fell to his knees in front of me, and pressed his forehead to my stomach. "Thank you," he whispered against my skin. "Thank you for trusting me with the real you." Again. I threaded my fingers through his hair and cried, but this time from relief. That night, we made love with the lights on for the first time. It was clumsy and perfect, and we laughed when we knocked over the bedside lamp, and we cried when he kissed every mark on my body like he was greeting old friends he'd missed. Afterward, lying tangled and sweaty and whole, I asked him the question that had haunted me for months. Was it worth it? The lie? He thought about it, tracing circles on my hip. "No," he said finally. "I'd trade every second of secret sight for 1 minute of you never feeling betrayed. But I'm grateful every day that we survived it. That you're still here. That you're still, you." I kissed him then, slow and deep. The next morning, I walked downstairs naked to make coffee. He was already at the island, reading the paper, actually reading it, and when he looked up, his smile could have powered cities. "Morning, beautiful," he said. And for the first time in months, I didn't flinch. We still have cameras, new ones, for actual security, but they're pointed at doors and windows, never inside. We still have scars, some you can see, some you can't. We still fight sometimes about stupid things like whose turn it is to unload the dishwasher. But every morning, I wake up and choose, to be seen. Because love isn't blind. Love is the moment you decide someone is safe enough to look at all of you, and stay. If this story touched you even a little, do me a favor, hit that like button, leave a heart in the comments, and subscribe because I'm just getting started sharing the messy, beautiful truth about what happens after the fairy tale. We don't just get happily ever after. We fight for it, naked and afraid and brave as hell. See you in the next one. And Alexander says hi. He's reading over my shoulder right now, grinning like an idiot. Yeah. We're gonna be okay.